Are you new to Canada? Not a big fan of the snow after all. Having trouble finding a job? Can't afford to buy a house? Rent's out of reach? Life is so crappy here in Canada you can't even afford to buy a condo, right pal? Who the heck is talking? We can help! Who the heck is we?
We can help you. Welcome to Tent City, where we can help you with all of your tent needs. From purchases to rentals to mobile repairs, we've got something for any budget. We even offer 0% interest and 0 down financing. Come on down to Tent City, where we've got you covered.
TK!
Drum roll.
Holy. Thank you
Sunday.
to the new sponsor, Tent City.
Wow,
Thank
I
you
can't
so
believe it.
much.
We're so honored. We know that you're supporting foreign students everywhere on our streets.
Everywhere.
We just really appreciate your support for the show.
What a
And if
great
you guys are looking to
idea.
sponsor the show, reach out to our PR team at pr@cres.com. Thanks,
There you
guys.
go. Yeah, TK. They stole your idea, the mobile tent repair service there, which
No,
I
you know
think
what?
is genius. But
I
those,
got shares in the company.
oh,
I'm
okay.
okay.
Oh, that's how we got the sponsor. Okay, that
So we
makes
got
sense.
sponsorship.
Holy cow, it's getting cold out there though. What are all these people in tents gonna do? I mean, I keep saying this, but like, have you looked underneath the Rosedale Valley Bridge lately?
Not lately. Just hasn't I haven't gotten to that point
It's
yet.
a budding community.
But I suggest probably if I'm going to pitch a tent, do it to one of the houses that are on fire. Like
It's
that would be pretty
warmer, right?
warm. Yeah,
It's
like in the
warmer.
winter time, I would say that would be warmer than a place where there is no house on fire.
You'd think that it could be done in a way where it looks like maybe a homeless person was like living there, maybe smoked a cigarette or something and like
Right?
fell
Electrical
asleep,
fire, you know
you
what I mean?
know?
Like, isn't there like a website where you could Google like how to start an electrical fire in your house that will destroy all
Something.
the evidence? I'm sure
But
there's a
like,
website like that.
and
Get a
really
VPN
like,
before you search that term.
but everybody seems to be going with, hiring some dumb kids with cherry cans of gas and just lighting the place on fire like brazenly. Now,
Yeah.
it's funny because
Why me?
so
Why me?
in case people don't know what we're talking about this $13.8 million home that spontaneously caught fire with four
I don't know why they were targeting my house.
yeah,
I mean,
why me? Why me?
of all the houses, it's the one that I got on the market that I can't sell right now. I mean, geez, why
But,
wouldn't they
like,
go and risk their freedom to go burn down one of my neighbors' houses with people
It's
inside?
it's a mystery
No
to
one was hurt,
most
by the way.
people, though, TK, because like it's happening a lot lately. And why would somebody burn down their own house? I mean, it just doesn't
This-
make any sense.
Well, this one was already complete.
Yeah, and it's not
Yeah.
actually his house, but he if you saw the interview, I mean, he's visibly torn up by the incident. But TK, because this is such an important story and I find it so fascinating, and I think I've dug deep into the story and figured out why this happened. And
Okay.
it took a lot of digging, a lot of digging. I'm going to
I-
break our rule, which is
Okay.
really not our rule, but I'm going to break the editor's rule and I'm going to share my screen today. And
Oh,
I hate doing
we
it.
haven't done that for a long time.
No, because it's a real pain in the butt. So
To edit after.
this is the house in question, TK, and it is beautiful. But Gina,
This is so like
she
this is
posted
so
on
like
Twitter,
out
right?
there. This is violating their privacy.
It's kind of crazy, the whole story. But this guy here, you see that? Look at that.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Here, I'm going to start again. I think I can put sound on here. Can you hear it?
Alariza Avzad owns a newly constructed home.
Yeah.
The security video.
Look at these guys
Look, I
running.
mean, just to do some cleanup damage here, because remember that email address, guys, pr@cres.com. Yeah, they're emailing me right now, and they're saying TK cleanup. So this guy could be totally 100% unaware that his house was burned down. It's possible
It's
that he has
possible.
nothing to do with it. It's possible that he is in shock, and this has caused him great grief, and that his life will be affected, and then our hearts do go out to him.
Sure.
Just put that out there.
In case that's the
Yeah.
you know, the
But
way
like
it
more
is,
than
right?
likely he had something to do with it.
But
But
like,
either way,
how do you build a house for this long, own a property, and not realize that the owner beside you has a camera right here? Not
I
that
think
that
was-
matters, because
yeah, I think
he didn't
mask and
do
all that
anything,
stuff. It's
right?
like no big deal. He didn't do anything. No,
He didn't
the
do
owner-
anything,
The
so it
owner
doesn't really
definitely is
matter.
not one of those four guys.
So, but through my digging, we find
Oh
that
my gosh,
he's
Darryl,
a
this is
realtor.
he's okay, but putting
He's
his
a
face out
realtor.
there, I'm sure he's a great realtor. I'm sure he's a great person.
I didn't put his face out there. His face
I'm sure
is
he's a great
out
person.
there.
Bottom line is, it's just more signs of a stressed economy, a stressed real estate market. Whether it's completely random acts of arson. I mean, think about it. There's a lot of people out there who get their cars stolen, and I'm sure there's some people out there whose maybe payments are getting a little bit too heavy, and so they decide to park their car on their driveway, which they know is a risk because it's a highly sought after vehicle, and then their car gets stolen and insurance takes care of it, and they go, whew, I don't have to make that payment anymore. So, I mean, basically what, could happen if somebody's payments are, getting too stressful for them, for their home, is they could just, park their house in a really nice neighborhood with nobody inside, and, put in the listing that it's vacant, and that the materials are highly combustible, and that, maybe someone will just come and burn it, right? Like that's a plausible scenario.
I suppose it's a plausible scenario that a group of banditos dressed in black would come and, with cherry cans.
I know what we can do. And then we can buy the land after the house sells and the guy gets the insurance money. We can buy the land off him for a discount.
Pennies on the dollar.
Let's go and burn his house down. Hey.
Okay, great idea.
This is such a great scam. I'm serious.
Look at this house, though, TK. It's crazy.
It's a heck of a house.
It's a
that
heck of a
probably has a
house.
huge monthly payment.
Look at this. Look at this. Okay, you see this? This is looking into the underground parking garage, which
you need to make sure that your cars
paying
haven't been stolen.
attention.
Yeah.
This thing's got an underground parking garage. It's a beautiful house.
Yeah.
But it was listed for 13.8 million. And while doing some digging, he bought the property for like 3.5 a few years ago, which, buddy, what the hell took you so long to build this thing? Anyways, it's not that great. If you do a little digging, TK, you'll find that like nothing has really sold anywhere close to 13.8 million in this area ever, like ever. And you'll see something here sold for 7.745 million. Okay, and this is recently 27 days ago, right? And it's a beautiful
a little bit
house
older
as
house,
well.
but still nice. Yeah.
Listen, if it's 13.8 or this one for 7.7 or whatever,
I'm taking the 7.7 all day.
I think I'm taking this one for 7.7 any day of the week.
You want to go halvesies?
I don't.
You want to go Dutch?
I don't know what Dutch means, but I don't.
You can live in one side of the house, and my family will live in the other side of the house.
Beautiful house there, right, TK? Like just a beautiful house. And then, so if you do a little bit more digging, right, and you just kind of look around, you'll see there's another house around the corner that's listed for 8.7. And it's also pretty decent. It's been on the market for 135 days, though, which is not so great.
So it's fresh. It's a new listing.
It's fairly fresh. And I mean,
I'm trying to get
a little.
So
dated.
hold on. What are we inferring here? Hold on. So he's overpriced. He's overpriced. He bought it for 3. Right? It didn't cost him 10 million to make it. What did this person have into the home? What was the mortgage amount? Why is it that, he wanted to ask so much money? Was it worth that much money? Are there any buyers out there who would pay that much money? If
Oh.
this was self-induced, why would it make sense to do that? I don't really know. I'm not
Well,
really
hang on.
buying the story.
So let's
if the
take
story's not that clear, Darryl, what did you
Well,
dig into?
add
What did
some
you dig
let's
into?
just add some assumptions into it, like cost of building this giant house with an underground parking garage and heated driveways and like top of the line, absolutely everything. Okay. Like this thing must have cost the guy. Let's do some quick math here. Let's just
10,000
use,
square feet,
for
500 bucks a
argument's
square
sake,
foot.
yeah, which is
That's
cheap,
five.
okay?
That's
And I
5
think it's
million.
too big. So let's say 8,000 square feet times like 700 bucks a foot. So another, let's say $5+ million on top of the 3.5 that he paid in 2020. So now generally loans, I don't know, maybe the guy brought cash from somewhere somehow, or maybe he's levered and paying interest. I think one way or another, though, there's interest involved to somebody somewhere. So there's carrying costs, right? There's development costs, and then it's probably more than that 750 a foot, because I'm looking at the building we're building. We're looking at those kind of numbers right now. And this is just one house. Like there's no economies of scale at all over there. Right.
Yeah.
So anyways, the point is 3.5 plus 3 years plus construction is like $9-10 million. And this guy's looking around watching his neighbors all sell like in the 7s or can't sell in the 8s. And he's sitting there at 13.8 thinking, oh, I'm a genius. Somebody's going to come in and lowball me at 11 and I'll do okay. But what's happening is nobody is biting at all. And everybody around him is delisting their houses. And he's like,
Okay.
We need
got a theory.
plan B.
I got a theory.
You have a theory?
We got a theory here. Okay. Well, if you do get, if your house burns down and your insurance company decides to pay you for the replacement cost of the home, right? You would have an option to sell the lot afterwards, right?
You
And
would
keep the
have,
money.
okay. Well,
Right?
what happens with insurance in this scenario? Like what happens?
Well, let's just pretend this is not the scenario, because definitely that guy is innocent and
that guy
this
is
an unfortunate
for
accident.
sure,
and 100%, I feel bad for him and I hope everybody's
random
safe,
act
especially the
of
neighbors.
violence. Yeah.
But
Random.
in another scenario, if your house burns down and the insurance company pays you, so now you just spend, you can go to your insurance company and says, I just spent $8 million on this house. I just spent, here's the receipt.
That's the value.
Here's all the cost. What about my, I need shelter. I need to have other replacement costs. All these other things that I had in there that may or may not even be there.
Those 4 cars were in the
Those 4 cars were all
garage,
right? I need you to give me back that money because that's what was insured. I can prove to you this is what my insurance policy covered, right? And those guys, I mean, those arsonists, they're out there. We got them on CP24. You can see them on the cameras. My neighbor had cameras, so we know it's not me. You can see the, what I look like and what they look like. It's not me.
It's quite apparent.
And just again, totally random. This is like a fake story right now. This is not that guy. Now my insurance company gives me my $8 million back. I go, whew, dodged a bullet there.
That was,
and then you sell the lot, which if I bought that lot and just like, I'll just use a random date, right? 2020. If I bought a lot and I'll just use a random price for a random street. Yeah. 3.5 million.
3.5.
Sometimes
I knew you were going to say that.
Sometimes around now in 2023, that land value might actually have gone up a little bit, right?
Right.
And so instead of me
that didn't tank,
and instead of me selling my home that I'm in, let's call it 13 million on, just random numbers again, that I have to sell for 9 and I lose 4 million. Instead, the insurance gives me my money back. I sell the lot, I recuperate some of my losses. Maybe I lose a little bit and I move on with life. And I buy some new vehicles. But again, that guy for sure, 100%, that's not what he did. I can tell by the way that interview, how he was outside the house, willing to talk to the news
and
like that with his sunglasses on. For sure, 100%, he's a victim in this crime. And hopefully his family and everybody's safe.
So here,
let's
pretend
move on.
You're interviewing me and it happened to the house that I just built for that much money and needed to sell so desperately.
Sir, we see that your house is on fire and that it's vacant and none of your family was inside. please tell us what happened. Are you okay? Is everything fine?
It's the fucking immigrants. Okay.
Who do you
We're
think-
letting in way too many fucking people, and now
Who-
they're ruining my life. And now that it's affecting me, I need answers. Why me? Why me of all people, TK? I don't understand. What the fuck is going on here? What kind of country can we live in where this is allowed to happen?
Sir, I just heard just in Tent City is having a sale, and that you and your family can actually get
Thank
all your Tent City
God.
needs down there, so that you guys will not be out in the cold this winter.
Thank God.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we got going on? TK, I think people should probably take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 6,000, although we really should have like 6 million followers. This show is so great, TK.
That's debatable.
But debatable. Apparently, I am not right. So, anyways, like, comment, subscribe, hit the damn bell, share this show with somebody that you think might get some kind of value out of it, and don't forget
We talk about stuff.
we talk about stuff. But
Yeah.
if you don't want to hear us talking about stuff, and you have a very short attention span or an agenda, and you just want to get to the meat and potatoes, TK,
You could go to the Real Estate Clips channel,
you should
because
go to the Clips
we
channel.
have served you steak and mash. All right, baby. That's what
Yeah.
you're going to get over there. And it is going to be with the best silverware you ever had. So check out the Real Estate Clips channel. That's definitely the bite-sized version of this show. But otherwise, stick around for the next little while and hear us rant about nonsense.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. I'm double subscribed. Do it yourself. Didn't get to fix the show, though. Didn't get to fix the show.
Please subscribe. And
Well,
Hear us rant about nonsense. Talking about nonsense. I this morning I got this email, TK, and it was weird. And I think
Yeah.
it's a goof from, like, I don't know, maybe one of our fans, because I get a lot of emails. I get a lot of people from India who want to like do SEO for us all the time. And
I think Greg
anyways,
Brady last week really legitimized us.
I don't know. I mean,
He's a big
was
name.
it really him? I didn't
Greg's
see
a big
his
name.
face.
Greg's a
You
big
never
name.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg legitimized us,
He
which
legitimized
is
us.
great because we needed to be legitimized. But I get this email from the like Justin Trudeau's assistant, right? At
Hmm.
his office. And I was like, they're like, can you kind of lay off of the prime minister a little bit, because he doesn't appreciate it. I was like, the prime minister sees our show? Really?
Has he
Come
not
on.
seen
Like, what the-
Poilievre's
Yeah.
social media account?
what
Like,
the
why is he
hell's
targeting us?
busy with us for?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I didn't really believe it, obviously, because that's not really believable at all. So what did I do, TK? I told her to go fuck herself. And then she was like, okay, like, I'll prove it to you. Like, give me a link to the show.
Okay.
I was like, I'm not giving you a link to the show. I don't know who the hell you are. You're going to ruin my show.
What do you mean a link? Like a link to watch the video, or like
a link to the
join?
Zoom channel to join the meeting?
We can't have just anybody. I mean,
Not
well,
just
technically we
anybody.
had Don and Greg and pretty much anybody else who's asked to be on the show on, but we can't just have anybody on the show.
Well, I didn't believe it. This is the thing, and this is the position I took. So anyways, I
Yeah.
sent like a phone number to get on, and we'll see what happens. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I thought that
Well,
was kind of weird,
likely
but we're
not.
getting a reach, TK. Could you imagine if the prime minister was watching this show? That'd be pretty cool. I mean, he's a drama major. Maybe he likes the skits.
Maybe.
Maybe
I
he
saw a
likes the
really funny
skits.
video where they played like a 20-year-old version of him, and he's in this like jean jacket, like cut off with short shorts, and they're interviewing him, and he's just like, yeah, he's like, my mom, she's been great, and my parents, they raised me well, and all that stuff, and da 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 da. Oh, I can't say that. And they're like, oh, that's very political. He's like, oh, I'm not getting into politics. I'm going to be a teacher.
I'm going to be a
know?
teacher. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of his stuff doesn't age well.
Most of his stuff.
Like,
doesn't
I wonder
age
what
well.
our show will be like in 10 years when we look back and we're going to go, oh.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
did you go watch the first episode? Holy shit, is that bad? And man, do I look like a piece of shit. God,
why?
it's like, I guess it's like, what was it? Beginning of the pandemic. Like, I probably didn't shave, didn't get my hair cut, didn't go outside, I was afraid of the world. Anyway, speaking of afraid of the world, it's scary out there. These headlines are nutty out there right now. Do you know what time it is, TK?
What time is it?
It's time for the news is scary.
Oh no. Oh god.
Oh no.
Housing affordability at the worst level in 41 years.
Canada's housing market faces great adjustment.
What will happen to the Canadian housing market in 2024?
Ontario sees bulk of home price drops.
Canadian housing starts dive as higher rates bite.
Canadian housing affordability second worst in history.
Buyer's market with no buyers.
We are living in a housing crisis.
Canadian housing market expected to reach a tipping point in 2024.
Housing affordability at worst levels in 41 years.
Whoa. Hey. Ow.
Ooh-wee. That's some scary news out there, Dale.
That is some
that's a lot of scary stuff
news.
out there.
Holy
I mean,
Jesus. How
this
do
is-
people navigate through this stuff, TK? I don't
This
understand.
is the truth. This is the truth. I mean,
the truth?
this is the truth. This is the truth. This is like, I think a lot of real estate agents want to tell people right now, like, you know, it's a great time to buy. And, you know, because there's not a lot of buyers out there, you know, it's an opportunity for people to be able to take advantage of that and find a desperate seller and to be able to get a really good deal. And, you know, the interest rates are high right now, but they won't be high forever. And that you're going to be able to
Yeah. Lots of choices out
know,
there right now.
get the right price, and then you can refinance later. And all of that is absolute truth. What the hell are people doing? It's a great
Yeah.
opportunity out there.
Great opportunity.
Nobody's buying. Why is
Nobody's
everybody so
buying.
like dim-witted about this? You know, it's like, go there and make some offers, lowball offers. Find a seller who's
Lowball
motivated.
offers, yes. Low balls,
Jeez,
yes.
come on.
But there's not that many motivated people. Like it's a
But
real
there's a
crapshoot.
few. Come on, people are lighting their houses on fire.
People
Find
are,
somebody who's ready to sell and make an offer already. I don't know. People are just so like, buyers are always just follow the crowd. I 100%. I don't know when this is going to happen, but eventually buyers will all want to come back in and everyone's going to be buying at the same time again. And everyone say, man, that was a really great time to buy back in 2023 or 4.
well, but hold on a sec. Aren't people waiting for the rate cuts that seem to be imminent now?
But everybody's waiting for those rate cuts.
So, but why buy now if like in a couple months it could be better time to buy? No, because even if prices don't go up,
but if you get a really
are
good
prices
deal
gonna
today,
go up when rates go down, is that what you think?
well, regardless of what prices do, right now there's no buyers competing with you. You got to have this, you know, nice, gentle process of negotiations. Like there are no
Holy
investors out there right now. Every investor is focused on cap rate and all that kind of stuff, as if they're going to be buying in like Ohio and they're going to find some like 7 or 8 cap rate in Toronto. That ain't happening.
Need yield. We need yield.
Yield
We
ain't
need
happening.
Yield.
It's over for you guys. You guys should have bought back in 1991 when that was happening. But right
What's the
now it's
play?
not.
So, but what's the play? What do you do? Who the hell in their right mind? Like I'm looking at buying cars and I'm like, I keep hearing that it's like getting worse in the car market. Like I should wait because like, why not wait?
Well, cars are different because you're going to have that fixed rate if you get financing, right? So it's a little bit different, right?
Yeah, but they're open loans. It's all a bunch of nonsense. I don't even know why to even take a loan right now. The rates are so crazy with
I think
everything.
there's always a way to justify it. I mean, if I saw a deal right now, I would buy it 100%.
Well, it used to be that like it made sense to finance a car in some way because like the money would be more valuable somewhere else and could get a better return. But now it's like GIC or buy a car. Is it better to, it's not better to have the money in a GIC at 5% when you got to pay 9% on a car.
There's a ton of opportunities right now. Like there's a lot of investors right now who are looking for money, and because liquidity is drying up, interest rates are higher. I'm getting offered like 15-20% returns on all sorts of different stuff from people who have got a lot of assets, a lot of properties, a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Short term, 6-12 months, stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
I'm
opportunities.
charging way more than that for short-term stuff. I had a guy call me yesterday. He says, so-and-so gave me your number. And I was like, who? What the hell's going on? This guy wanted to borrow 10 grand from me to put down on a property, like up in God knows where, Ontario.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't have 10 grand to like tie up a property. Like, what are the chances that I'm seeing this back? I don't care what the interest rate is. This is not worth it. This is so dumb. And
Yeah.
that dick that gave you my number, tell him to go fuck himself. Like now.
Yeah, but I think there's lots of things to make money on right now. What's probably not a really good idea is to buy into Bitcoin. I'm at hockey the other day, and the guy in the change room's telling me, he's just like, "Oh man, look at Bitcoin, it's going up again." And this guy's all about it. And he was
Bitcoin again.
and he was telling me, like, if you had bought at the bottom earlier this year, you would have doubled your money and all that kind of stuff, right? And so immediately I get into the fear of missing out. Immediately I'm on my Shake Pay, and I'm just like, how can I add more Bitcoin? How can I do all this kind of stuff?
Now
And I look at the prices, and it's like where I bought last time, where it went down to, where it is now, why I want to get back in now. I'm just like, it's totally the emotional roller coaster of buyers with real estate. Nobody wants to buy when nobody else is buying. It's the exact same phenomenon, right? They know, because I don't know Bitcoin, I don't understand the cycles. This guy knows Bitcoin, so he was always buying at the lows. I understand the real estate cycle, so I can see when the opportunities in real estate are there, and that's why it's like, this is an opportunity for people. But I'm getting sucked into the masses.
You're getting sucked into the hype again. This is not the first time.
Yeah. I didn't buy it.
Yeah, maybe this is the time it goes to 100,000. Who the hell knows? What about shrinkflation? You want to talk about some shrinkflation?
Noticed it at the grocery store the other day.
Did you see the video that was going around about the craft dinner that shrunk? The craft dinner went from 225 grams to 200 grams. Probably the price went up too.
There was too much in that box anyways.
Too much in that box for half a person, right?
Yeah.
Now you need 2 boxes for 2 people. One is just not enough for 2. It used to be like, I'm pretty sure if we look back in time,
family of 4.
225 is probably like half of what it used to be. It probably used to be like 500 grams. It used to be big, long, tall packs full of macaroni that
can't even finish it. I'll throw some chopped up hot dogs in there and call that Christmas dinner. You know what I mean?
Yikes. That's probably what a lot of people are going to have to do this year, but that sounds disgusting, actually.
Really?
Yeah. But maybe, come to think of it, maybe it's not so gross. It sounds kind of good. Tell me, TK, ketchup in your craft dinner or no ketchup?
There was a time. There was a time.
Oh,
yep.
God, that's so gross.
Yep, there was a time. Ketchup on everything. There was a time.
So many people do it. They actually made a craft dinner box with ketchup in it, built into the cheese. Disgusting.
Big mistake. Yeah, it's not the same.
TK, it doesn't look like our guest is going to make it today. We're going to have to.
Bill, sayonara, Bill.
Sorry, Bill. It was nice.
We tried. We'll try to get you on next time. And, but you never know. Maybe you don't get another chance. We'll find out. We'll let you know.
TK, did you hear about Yonge and Dundas Square?
No, I didn't. I heard about Skrinkamadoo Square.
Yeah, Skrinkamadoo Square is what it's called now.
Look,
somehow they decided to call it
Skrinkamadoo. At the end of the day, this is the environment we're living in. We're living in a world where everybody's easily offended and everybody needs to have their own say. Now, is slavery a good thing? No. Like, do I support anybody who ever supported?
Are you condoning slavery?
Everybody who supported slavery in the past? No, I don't think any sensible person ever did. And I'm pretty sure when they were naming Dundas Street and Square and all the other Dundases, they weren't just like, hey, you know what? This guy did a really good job with slavery. Maybe we should name it after him, But people, were like, he participated. And all of a sudden it now became a problem. So do I care about what the name of Dundas Square is? To be honest, no. And if they need to rename Rogers Center 3 more times, people are still going to call it the Sky Dome.
The Sky Dome.
Do you know what I mean?
Dundas
Square,
you're
Skrinkamadoo.
Okay with Skrinkamadoo, or
I'm okay with whatever they decide to name it. What I'm not okay with, this is now a double
Bill's
standard.
Here. I think Bill made it. Bill, are you there?
This is what?
Yes, finally.
Bill, we're just talking about Dundas Square here, Bill, quickly, because Toronto's renaming stuff. And so we renamed Ryerson University to the Toronto Metropolitan University. And now they're talking about Dundas Station becoming TMU Station.
What the hell's
It's
going
like a
on?
double renaming.
This isn't realistic at all.
This is not familiar.
Who's
for
making all
anybody.
these decisions? Are we
Why couldn't they
voting
just
on
call
these
it
things?
Ryerson Station and then
we
we can
vote on it?
20 years from now change it to TMU Station just to make it more gradual? Anyways, Bill, welcome to the show. We've been waiting 3 hours for you. We're happy you got here though, because basically
done.
Darryl and I have been talking about nothing so far. It's incredibly taxing.
Well,
Incredibly
it's
taxing.
it's my fault because I'm a real techno dud when it comes to this kind of thing.
Well,
It
no
is, but-
arguments from us on that one, Bill. But you know what? We are very happy to have you today. And we had a
Thanks.
call
I'm
in.
glad to be here.
We had a call in guest last week, so we're kind of getting used to this now. So this is not something that we're not used to. But yeah, tell us a little bit about your group, Bill, for people who haven't seen it before.
Yeah, it's been around for a while. It's called the Metro Vancouver Housing Collapse Facebook group, and I also posted on Twitter. And I began it on November 11th, 2017, and it was quite accurate up until COVID hit. The COVID flood of liquidity. The market was correcting here in 2019, so I tell people that's your baseline, for prices. What we're seeing right now is COVID era froth being blown off, and there's quite a lot being blown off at the moment. And so 2019 prices should be people's baseline. Go from there, and I expect quite a significant drop below 2019 prices that we saw here.
So COVID threw off your model that you'd been working on for a while?
Oh, sure.
You didn't foresee
when they dropped.
You didn't foresee the cash, so the money supply
No.
quadrupling in a couple of years in your model?
No.
What's wrong with you?
No,
Why
I
not?
wasn't that.
No?
I know I wasn't clairvoyant enough.
You're not clairvoyant enough.
I wasn't the financial genius some other people claim to be.
That's right.
Like Darryl and I.
TK,
But
TK,
yeah.
I just got word from our intern that
Yeah.
Justin Trudeau is on the phone.
Oh
Is
my
that
God.
possible?
Darryl, come on.
I got an email this morning, Bill, and it was like, I thought it was a goof, but I don't know. Apparently,
Trudeau doesn't have
we're
time for that.
offending Trudeau. This is kind of weird. Hello, are you there? Who's that?
Bon matin.
Oh
This
my!
is Justin.
What?
Whoa.
No way. This isn't really Justin Trudeau. Hello?
Yes. Hello and good day, gentlemen.
Wow.
Wanted to come on the show and give my support. I love your show. It's the best and especially the most entertaining real estate show on the planet. But for God's sake, could you guys please take it easy on me and the rest of the wonderful Canadian Liberal Party? You guys are killing me.
Justin, Mr. Prime Minister, sorry,
my
excuse me,
God.
Mr. Trudeau. Wow, this is such an honor. I don't even know how you have time to be able to call
How
on
did
our
this
show,
happen?
but this is amazing. I mean, I guess just sort of on behalf of everybody in Canada, I mean, you hear us talking about it every single week here, but people are frustrated right now. I mean, the housing policies and the way that we've got more and more people living on the streets. We just don't have enough affordable housing. I mean, what's going on, Mr. Prime Minister?
We're working to make life more affordable from coast to coast to coast. And we've taken action at a provincial level as well as at federal level to address grocery prices because we know they are too high, even though places in the rest of the world are even worse than us. So don't forget about that. But I spoke that with families in Mississauga this morning, and I told them we're committed to delivering results at the checkout counter.
Mr. Prime Minister, with all due respect, like this is not the same country I grew up in anymore. Like people can't afford anything. I really question what you're doing at the helm of this country. Like people want to leave now, and like I feel like you're just destroying the country that I grew up in. I used to love.
Listen, I was a snowboard instructor. I've been a bouncer in a nightclub. I was a whitewater river guide for many years. Worked as a teacher. I make no apologies for a very varied set of life experiences. You cannot let yourself be defined by the hopes that you will fulfill the darkest wishes of your opponents.
Mr. Prime Minister, we actually have a guest on our show right now. I'm not an expert in this field here. I'm just a lowly real estate agent, but Bill actually operates a group out of Vancouver, and maybe Bill, you'd have some questions for Mr. Trudeau. Bill?
Oh, I do. if that is indeed the real prime minister, I would just say, I don't know. I think you're being hacked.
Really?
Anyway, he sounds, I've got a few things to say.
Yeah,
He's been in power. He's been in office since 2015, and he's done squat. This housing bubble in Vancouver is worse now than it ever was back then.
By a mile.
And, So, no, this is going to be a big.
Do you have a question
here
for Mr. Trudeau while we have him?
Well, let me think. Why is he continuing with all the optics about, increasing housing supply when he knows darn well that there's plenty of supply that is set to be unleashed when all the speculators start or continue to head for the exits? And they'll try.
We have created a society where individual rights and freedoms, compassion and diversity are core to our citizenship. But underlying that idea of Canada is the promise that we all have a chance to build a better life for ourselves and for our children.
No one can argue with that.
Is he even listening to the questions we're asking here?
I don't think so. I think he's putting me on.
Listen, Mr. Darryl Hot Dog Frankfurter, I'm a teacher.
Whoa.
It's how I define myself. A good teacher isn't someone who gives the answers out to their kids, but is understanding of needs and challenges and gives tools to help other people succeed. That's the way I see myself. So whatever it is that I will do eventually after politics, it'll have to do a lot with teaching.
Well, I was a teacher for 32 years. Yeah, I retired 11 years ago. Best thing I ever did. Maybe I should run for prime minister.
Maybe you should run for prime minister.
I've been thinking about it.
Maybe you guys could start a podcast together. I think, Bill and Mr. Trudeau, I think the people out there really.
I'll give him some teaching tips. Oh, sure. Oh, I know all about it. Yeah. No,
and I can give you guys some real estate tips if you'd like.
Yes, if you don't mind. Can you give us a little bit of insider info? Any idea what's happening with interest rates anytime soon? What do we call him? Your Honor, Your Majesty? Sir?
We are working together to step up and to do what's right for the fiscal responsibility and partnering with climate change, and because that is social policy and it is related to housing.
But he asked about interest rates. So, Mr. Prime Minister,
I don't think this is going.
Are you
anywhere.
speaking directly? Are you speaking directly to Tiff Macklem about lowering interest rates so that Canadians like myself and Bill, who is a teacher for 32 years, can have a lower monthly household budget so that we can afford more groceries, more clothes for our children, more vacations,
more craft dinner,
to be able to, get 2 boxes of craft dinner.
Okay, this is just crazy, but this is actually our country, TK. This is the crazy thing. My blood's getting boiling. How about yours, Bill? This guy's making me nuts here. Well, TK, this has been
Prime
interesting.
Minister, thanks for calling in.
I'm sure you're busy.
We appreciate you and your time. We hope that we can get you back on the show in the future, and we'll have our PR team reach out to your PR team if that's okay. To get you back on the show.
Merci beaucoup.
This is merci beaucoup. Holy TK, what?
Bill, I you know what, Bill? I had no idea that call was going to come in. Darryl just told me this morning that he got an email about it. But man, I'm glad that you were here to hear about it.
We lost everybody, TK. That just Blew Bill right out of the water. Holy
Oh, bang,
cow.
bang, bang, bang.
Wow.
Wow.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
That's shocking. These
Well-
guys are trying their best, though. They're even reaching out to podcasts. Now, TK, have you seen what they're doing with housing right now? Mr. Fraser, Mr. Trudeau. These
Yeah.
guys are bringing on the wartime bungalows, baby. They have, what are they calling it? The wartime housing plan or some crap like that. Wartime housing program. TK, who the hell are we at war
Do you know how many
with right
housing
now?
programs there are? You know,
There's a lot
we
of
got so
housing
many bloody
programs.
houses. Like this housing affordability program that Vancouver just got $115 million for. Like they've got, I think it's like $4 billion, that accelerator fund, you know, that they had put aside back in 2020, 2019. And then it was like, all right, we're going to build some houses. And then no houses got built. And now they're like, well, I guess we better use this money. And so they're like giving municipalities sort of like the path on how they're going to get the money, but it's like do X, Y, and Z. They're trying to, you know, basically control municipalities and get more houses built. But so far, there's been no houses built, Daryl.
No, there's barely been any built.
Right.
And now this
And what's
brilliant plan, like check this out, TK. They're giving us, like they did back in the day, like I guess catalogs of plans that you can just do right away, buy off the shelf.
Yeah, like
And
Sears.
the idea is to, I guess, reduce friction and time so that you don't need to hire an architect, which sucks for architects, I guess. And I guess you reduce your planning time. But TK, they're a bunch of rectangles. Okay, there's nothing to them, and I don't even think that these are anything special. I mean, we do have bylaws that kind of dictate the rectangle that you are permitted to build on the property, like already in place. You can build one of these already without them doing anything, right? The problem is that people don't want to build what's permitted on their land. They want to build the biggest thing that they can possibly put on it so that they can sell it, like our friend at the beginning of the show, for as much money as possible. Now, if that guy just renovated that bungalow 3 years ago, TK, and flipped that thing for 5.2 million, imagine the difference in his life right now, right? But instead, he has to contemplate other actions potentially, or pray to God or whoever he prays
that
to.
guy's innocent. That guy's innocent.
That something will happen that will bail him out of the situation. I guess Bill's not calling back in, or I don't know what's going on
Bill's
with
gone.
Bill.
We appreciate Bill's time, but
I wish we could get Bill back. But what I'm saying, TK, is this is another friggin' nothing burger from the higher ups pretending like they're going to do something about the housing crisis. But as our friends with laneway suites and garden suites can tell you already, like there is no one size fits all formula that works on anything. I mean, I even when I built my first house, my idea was that the second house, I would just use the plans from the first house, but it doesn't work like that because the lots aren't the same width. They're not the same depth. They're not the same elevation. They don't have trees in the same place. So all of these factors dictate what the hell you can actually do on a house. But to give us a bunch of rectangles that say, hey, now you don't need an architect because this thing is already drawn for you. Technically, you can go in to the city with a hand-drawn sketch with dimensions on it, right? And a engineer stamp, and that's good enough to build one of these rectangles. So they're not doing anything.
But I think that
Again,
everything counts, Daryl. Everything counts. So
every bit of nothing counts.
I'm an optimist. I don't think we're going to be
times one.
we're not going to be stuck in this sort of like, you know, trap where we don't have enough housing for people to be able to live in. We're not going to be stuck in this sort of environment where, you know, we're always talking about how we need to build more houses. Eventually, they're going to figure out the formula, and the formula isn't going to be, you know, 6-story buildings on major streets or laneway houses or garden suites or removing HST on purpose-built rentals and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a combination of everything. We're just going to have
of everything.
All the
More
like think about
time
all
than
the
anything.
stuff that's just been introduced recently. So one of the big things right now, Daryl, is converting office buildings. And I want to go out there on the record to say how
that a big
wrong
thing?
you were about office conversions.
What the hell are you talking about? Who's doing office conversions?
Your theory about
theory.
the plumbing and efficiencies and all that kind of stuff is being put to the test, and we have
Well-
more there's 1,000 buildings in Calgary that are up for conversion, which is the leading North American city right now for office conversions, just because they've had about 10 years to sort of like understand how much office buildings they need.
Empty buildings.
There's a ton of cities that are in the US as well that have already had a lot of plans put in. And what this company's developed is they've developed an algorithm. So before, what they would do is they would have to go and spend 3 to 4 months studying a building to figure out if it was even feasible, if the cost to convert it was even viable, right? And so now what they did was they figured out an algorithm to be able to plug into it so that they can get that information right away.
That's such
so that
bullshit.
they can determine whether or not the building is going to be feasible or not.
TK, you don't need a fucking algorithm. You need the price of the building to be cheap enough to warrant what you have to spend to make the conversion.
But it's too much negativity, Darryl. It's too much negativity.
I'm not being
It's
negative. It's a great idea.
It's one layer into the housing solution. We'll be converting buildings that are 40, 50-year-old office buildings into rental buildings. And the cost of some of the office buildings that are selling for less than land.
Selling for less than land.
Yeah.
Listen.
Because you look at it and you go, geez, if I got to knock down that building to use the land, it's going to cost me money. And if I got to convert it, it's going to cost a hell of a lot of money too.
Maybe
so
more.
Some of these buildings will be sold at less than land value. Yeah.
Right. And so if you remember, the one caveat to my negativity is that when prices come down enough, which means they got to be decimated because they got to come down a lot for it to make sense to do these.
Well,
unless
that's the value.
You're buying it for less than land.
You got a lot of, well, not necessarily buying it. It could be you already own it.
Ah, you already own it.
You already own it. And now you're looking at vacancies. It's okay. You can be wrong about something, Darryl. It's okay.
I can.
You can be wrong. It's okay.
I definitely can.
Office conversions will be another layer. Laneway suites, garden suites, office conversions, 6-story buildings on major streets, MTSAs, higher density. Greenbelt was on the list. It's no longer on the list.
Off the list. Gone.
It's no longer part of the equation. Duplexes, triplexes.
Under the bridges all over the place have come into play.
Tents will now be part of the solution.
It's true, though.
The other layer to all this that we're not talking about today.
Let them live in tents, TK.
Is the foreign student changes.
Ooh, 40%. Right? Yes, you had to tell me this giggling while getting your haircut, which I didn't understand. Why is this so funny?
It wasn't funny. It was just like it was what I was reading at the time that I was calling you. But anyways, so what it is basically the federal government is changing the minimum requirements for students to be able to have in order to be able to show that they've got enough funds for housing. It was about 10K before. Now it's about 20K.
You have to have 20K.
$20,000 is 4 times the national median income in India.
Whoa.
So that's going to restrict our number one foreign student application population.
That's okay, isn't it?
Right. Well, what does okay mean?
We don't want the students. We want the people that are going to work and dig holes and put up concrete and frame shit.
A lot of students are doing that, but anyways.
They are?
Yeah. Come on. Then what the government said is what we're going to do is
burning houses down, the students in their free time. That's where they're finding them. They go into these student housing houses with 18 kids and they go, hey, anybody want to burn a house down?
Anyone know how to burn down a house?
Yeah.
But what the government's going to start doing is they're going to start actually, this is what they said. We're actually going to verify that they've registered for a school.
They weren't doing that before? No verification?
I think so. Come on.
I don't get it.
You and I looked into this. All right.
I've actually looked into it, and it's not that easy unless you're doing some hucksters things. I think
there's some huckster stuff happening.
There's a lot of huckster stuff.
People are like, yeah. I'm going to the ABC school of thought. All right,
for sure.
So these are all the changes, right? That people are going to have. So the number of applications has dropped down 40% in Q3. We've got a lot less people, but not because of what everyone thinks, not because of the government restrictions, not because of the beef that Canada and India has.
Why?
But because people are living in tents under a bridge, Darryl. Yeah, come on.
Sure.
Why
These
would it
guys-
make sense to come here?
But let's actually think about this. So somebody has to save up, what did you say, 4 times the average
The median
yearly
income in India.
Yeah, so they need to save that up, which means they must have some money. And they're like, we're going to, send our kid for a better life and, see how that goes. And we're going to save up all of our money for years, and we're going to send them off to school in Canada because
their tuition is
This is
5
great.
times. Right now, if you go
Yeah.
and look up Toronto, University of Toronto, domestic tuition,
Mhm.
15,000. You go and look up international
it's
tuition,
insane.
65 grand.
Right. So what's
Who would ever
what's
pay
having
that premium?
Yeah, but what's having 20, all needing 20 grand to get in gets you is a bunch of arsonists who need to do some work to
Yeah.
make some real money.
They're going to
right?
steal some cars.
Because
They're going to ship them to Africa and burn down
whatever
a
the
few
fuck they're gonna
mansions.
do.
And then they got their tuition.
What are your choices now if you're here and you have to go to school all day to actually get your education that you're here for? And I mean, okay, 20 grand disappears in how long? Right? So what's having 20 grand doing? And you have to pay tuition of ridiculous sums. Like,
Yeah.
how do you make money? How do you do this?
Well, you
here?
don't do it in Toronto. You go to
Okay, but
another
there's
school.
a bunch of them
But-
trying.
okay, but the problem is like, this is what I guess I don't understand. I'm naive. Why is it that there's not a better university education in the country that they're coming from or another country that's cheaper, right?
Mhm.
If they're just going to go to some like regular school. If you're going to like University of Toronto and Western and Waterloo and all these great places, then sure, that education's going to, be an investment. But like, there's people who are moving to Cornwall,
Yeah.
or Peterborough,
There's
or
nothing wrong
whatever,
with Cornwall.
and they're like,
Cornwall's
I'm
nice.
here for the Canadian education.
Yeah, the
You know?
Canadian dream of education
And it's like,
housing empire.
you're getting hosed. You're getting hosed.
Hosed.
You know,
getting
you're better
hosed.
off just to stay in your country and pay much less tuition and much
Mhm.
less rent, live at home with your parents, eat mom's food every single day, get your university degree, figure out if you're even going to use the university degree. I don't know anybody. So I was very fortunate to have older siblings. And so I was able to look, and they would be like, all these great degrees and university programs. And then they went into businesses or jobs that had nothing to do with those programs whatsoever. So by the time it got to me, after watching
Sure.
4 older siblings go through the same thing over and over again, and some of them are much older, so I got to see their whole career develop. I was like, so, just getting a degree doesn't guarantee you a job in that field,
Well, it might guarantee you a job in the field, but it doesn't guarantee that you're going to want it. Right? All these
good
people
point.
get trapped in these jobs that they think that they want for some reason, right? So that they can have the house in the city that they want to live in instead of the life that they want to live, right? This is the big issue and I think even the younger generation is really having to make a serious decision right now. Is like, what is important to me? Is the city I live in as important as the life I live? Right. And I mean, I'm thinking about that all the time, especially coming back from that vacation. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm old and I'm going through a
worn off, yeah.
midlife crisis or something, but the reality is that it's fucking depressing here and it's not a good place to live anymore. And maybe it's the reference point and it's the anymore, because a lot of people are like, this place is fucking the best place I've ever been. I love it here. The people are so great. It's so clean and blah, 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 blah. But my reference point is very different. And I see a decaying of this society and of the city. Of course, I see it getting bigger and better simultaneously. It's like this weird dualism that's going on here, right? And the effort that it takes to make it in the big cities now, for some, may not be worth it anymore, right? Because you got to work your fucking ass off to get shit here, right?
Big
And
time.
to maintain it and keep it, right? You have to work your butt off or do some shady shit, right? Because I mean, is there a secret way to make a lot of money fast? Because real estate just disappeared. I don't think that's going to be the way. Like, is flipping going to be a thing anymore?
Yeah, definitely not. It's a way to lose money fast.
It's a
And
way
that,
to
and more and more
lose
people
money.
will recognize that. I think one thing too that we don't talk about enough is just how different it is for somebody, a younger generation, to be able to make money. It's not the same. Like, we're all kind of hating on people right now because there's all these online ways to make money, and
So
you know, like these
great.
kids are lazy and how they're, you know, just selling a course, you know, or they're on OnlyFans or they've got a podcast. How
It's
dare
great.
they? Right.
Love it.
But I'm saying that
way.
this is just the way to go.
It's the
And
way.
it's just there's so when people are talking about, this is part of why inflation is here, is because there is a way easier way to make money today than ever before. But the people who are making money the old way are the ones complaining, because they're saying, I can't possibly increase my income, because their mentality is from when they were a teenager or in their 20s. And now that they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, they're not willing to educate themselves on improving their situation. And the people who are educating themselves, the people who are in their teens and 20s right now, are going, wait a second here, listen, residual income and e-commerce and my social media following, they're finding ways to make more money than ever. And that's why when they're looking at this world, and maybe they don't want to buy, maybe they don't want to do the same things, maybe they don't have the same goals that we want, but they're not looking at the world going, making $100,000 is going to do anything for me. They're going like, how do I make like $3-4 million a year? How do I create a business that's going to be able to, you know, set me up for life, and then I'm going to have financial freedom? These are real things that people are thinking about today that I don't think they were as often before.
I think you can make a pretty good living if you're willing to relocate and have a much easier, calmer life if you do that lifestyle. But I mean, for a little bit while longer, people still need to do all the other jobs that aren't online. I mean, there's still a lot.
I don't think they need to relocate. That's what I'm trying to say, is that we're looking at Toronto as like this like wasteland of, you know, service workers and the elite. But there's people right now who are just like, okay, look, these are the rules of the game. This is the box I got to fit into. This is how much money I need to make to live in this big, huge city. They're going to find a way to do it. There's a ton of money out there. I was talking to a guy who does rental cars, and he does, he buys cars.
Yeah. I was looking at that last week. I was thinking about doing that.
Right. Yeah, me too. So that's what I was calling. I was talking to him. Me and you always have the same.
That's so
ideas.
funny. Let's do it. You want to buy a car?
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'll do that with you.
And then so, you know, he's renting it out, and he's like telling me about all the people. So he's like, okay, the really nice, like luxury stuff is all the young people. And like, so then they're like, you know, smoking weed in the car and speeding and getting it repossessed by the police and all that kind of like stupid things. Right.
Oh, God.
And so he's like, you got to be careful. He's like, you want to get more like luxury. So it's more business people. He kept mentioning real estate agents will rent it from you, real estate agents. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay. But anyways, like you're talking about,
before maybe they would have
3-4 days. Yeah, right. 3-4 days. 3-4 days of rental. And these guys are dropping like $2,000 to be able to borrow your car for a few days.
And it pays off
pay
the
for all the gas.
nut, right? It pays off the monthly nut if you rent it out for a few days.
Right. And like there's just a ton of people where like they're making money through their own social media, through their own rap videos, through their own, you know, networks, and that they're renting these really expensive vehicles out. And so the opportunity obviously becomes to buy the vehicles and then, you know, rent them out afterwards.
It's the new AirbNb.
Airbnb. But there's a ton of other alternatives for people. There's an underworld of income streams that people just don't recognize. And it's because the people who are in charge are all older. And the younger people are looking at them going like, you guys don't know about this? You guys are idiots. But
a lot of younger people get sucked into the old system, right? And get comfortable with the income. And it's hard to make that leap. Or like, you know, you see a lot of videos of people that are like, I work all day. I get home. I'm exhausted. I don't want to work out. I just want to chill. And then I got to go to sleep and I got to go do it again. Like, this is not really what I was envisioning with my life, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe I need to start an online business and move to Puerto Rico.
Great.
Right?
If that's where you want to be. But if you want to be here near your family and friends in the neighborhood that you grew up in, then you need to find an online business to start that you can stay here and live.
Right.
Because the opportunity is there. And I don't think that opportunity is going anywhere, to be honest with you. There's going to be people. I believe that iron sharpens iron. People need to be put under pressure like a diamond in order to be able to be created. I think that this higher cost environment, this higher inflation environment, it's sad for the people who aren't going to change. It's sad for the people who are in fixed incomes. These people are going to get crushed over the next 20 years. You can just tell
a lot of people.
the environment that we're in and how this is not going anywhere, that we're going to continue to see higher and higher cost of livings. Inflation is just in the rate of increase. It's not going back down. Even if we go down to 1% inflation, it's still increasing from where we were a year ago, 1%. You know, cost of living is still higher now than ever before, and it's not going back down, right?
Not going back down.
Not going back down. And so the younger people now, they will be looking at their life and they're saying, okay, how am I going to pay for the life that I want? How am I going to be able to find a way to be able to pay for this? And I think that that's what creates good entrepreneurs, and that's what creates good businesses, and that puts the hustle in everybody's step. Maybe it means go to school and become a professional. Maybe if that's what you're supposed to be, great, you know, but it's going to put that there because you're going to say, I can't just go and do what my mom did. I can't just go and do the job that my dad did. That's not going to be enough. I need to have something more in order to be able to have the same lifestyle that I'm used to. And that's going to fire people up. And then there's going to be a whole bunch of people sleeping on the streets.
A whole
there's going to be a bunch of people
sleeping
buying
on the
tents.
streets, yeah.
I don't like, again, I'm not like
What
saying
do
this
they
is a
do in
good
the
thing.
winter?
I'm just saying that this is reality as far as where the world is going. And it's like, it's either you accept it or you fight it, and you'll find out the hard way. I'm seeing a lot of posts on Facebook from people I know who are like struggling, and they're like talking about it openly. Like, I've had, they're like, this is how much money I make. This is, how I support my kids. I got, maybe child support, or I get child support, or, they're really laying it on the line, all their finances. And they're like, I need help. Like, can anyone give me a side job and I'll help you move, or I'll help you paint, or like, they're really like desperate in those type of ways. And like, this is the reality of how the world is. There was a couple there that was in the condo, right? And then the guy started to have to work 2 jobs. Did you see that article? Right.
Yeah,
So he's got to start working 75 hours a week in order to be able to pay his bills. Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Who doesn't work 75 hours a week?
Do you know what it was like? So first of all, our affordability index right now is super low or high. Unaffordability is high. Affordability is very low. When you were looking at like where we go from, we're back to where we were in the early 90s when interest rates were high and then prices were still coming down. But we're still not at the point in the early 80s when interest rates spiked, right? When all of a sudden you hear those 18, 20, 21%.
Yeah.
So we're at 55% of our household income right now going towards our mortgage payments. But back then it was even higher than that. It was even higher than 55%.
Yeah.
Right?
So what's the point? Like, we're going to get through it, is your point? Don't worry, we're going to get through it.
The point is, some people won't get through it.
Some people are
Some people won't get
through
through it.
this.
They're going to get screwed out of this, and they're going to come out with a life lesson. There's
Yeah.
other people who are going to be born in this. Like, remember Bane and Batman?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Bane.
He was born in the dark,
Mhm.
He breathes that stuff.
So it's good.
That's natural for him.
Good time to start your real estate career now.
I think so. I think it's a good time to be becoming an investor. I think it's a good time to understand money, to be able to learn how to manage your money better. All those things to me are all very like positive things, because I know me and you talking on this show and any decisions that I make in my daily life aren't going to change the environment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to change anything. Nobody's listening. We got Trudeau calling in our show, and that's still not going to change anything.
Not going to change anything. TK,
So-
we're making a change right now as we
All we
speak.
can do is you change yourself and your habits and your spending and your education and your skill sets, and you do the things that you need to do in order to be able to adapt to the environment that we are in today. But for most of us, that's very hard to do. But for somebody who's like 16, 18, 20, right? This is amazing environment, because we were spoon fed at that age. We were spoon fed.
It did seem like much easier. Like, you just had to follow a recipe and success was yours. It didn't
Get you a
take much
job.
thinking. Get a
Want a car?
job. Yeah,
Get you a loan.
car. Yeah.
Want a house? No problem.
Pick a
5%
house.
down.
Yeah.
Any house you want. You got 5%. Any house you want.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Doesn't happen.
It's not even
anymore
the
like that.
pricing. It's like the purchasing power is the problem, right?
Yeah.
Prices are all relative to the purchasing power, but the wages are just so fucking low. It's insane. And when you ask somebody what they make and they tell you 100 grand and you scoff at them for being broke, this is a dangerous, dangerous
Do you need help?
place.
Yeah. do you need help?
100 grand. Have you heard of Tent City?
Well, we used to look at the sunshine list, right? The sunshine list is government employees who make over $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
We used to shame them. We'd say,
Yeah.
we're going to make sure that everyone knows who you are just to keep you like, really? The sunshine list at 100, it should be increased. The sunshine list,
probably
I think,
has
should be
since then.
200,000.
Well,
Right?
sure.
Well, maybe it has. I don't even know. But
It
it
must have
was 100
increased.
grand for a long time.
If it's even out there anymore.
There'd be too many people on that list.
It'd be everybody. I mean, how can you? No, but really, I mean, I don't understand. If you live in Toronto, how do you live on 60 grand? Where do you live? What are you eating?
Yeah.
What are you driving? Like, how are you getting around? Like, what kind of a life are you living off 60 grand?
You
And
set it
60
up a
grand,
long time ago. You paid off your mortgage, or you're in a rent that you got 15 years ago. You know?
You're fucked.
it.
Is
That's
basically
it.
if you're starting out now, like, I don't know what you're doing. What are you renting? Like, you need somebody else. You can't be on your own. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you can't live in Toronto. So you're like commuting with what? Like
No,
a
there's lots of
bike?
people, Darryl. There's lots of people. The median income is lower than that
The medium
in Toronto.
I don't understand how it works, TK. Like, if you want to eat
Because
food,
they're living in a $900 a month 2-bedroom that they started renting back
How
in
much?
95.
95. But what if
Yeah.
you're young now? What if you're young and you need
If
a
you're
place to
young,
live?
you are
and
not. You're not doing what you and I did when we were young, because
Oh,
we're not
so
young
what are you
anymore.
doing? But even renting a place is not an option. TK, it's very, very
So
scary.
my little sister is looking to rent a place.
Yes.
Now, she's a university graduate. She's got like a small job, and she's trying to, go into the next part of her education.
Okay.
And so she wants to rent her own place because she did it with roommates. It wasn't all that exciting. And
No.
so now she wants to get her own place. So, and I support her. And, I think no matter what she wants to do, whatever she puts her mind to, she's going to do it. But, she's going to be looking at paying $2,000 a month to rent. And she doesn't make even
$2,000. Where the hell is she going to live? You can't live anywhere for $2,000.
She's going to find a place that's $2,000 a month.
Well,
the
don't
average
visit her
the average
without
1-bedroom in Toronto just got to 2,600. The average 2-bedroom is 34. So she's going to be in a bachelor.
In a bachelor, yeah,
It's
with
gonna be a
no
bachelor.
dishwasher, with
It's
maybe
gonna
no
be
air
decent.
conditioning.
It's going to be decent in an older building.
$2,000.
$2,000 a month. So bottom line is what I'm trying to say is that if there's a will, there's a way. And so people
There's
are
a
going to
will,
find
there's
a
a
way
way.
to be able to make it work, because that's what's worth it to them. And if they got to spend 60% of their income on their rent and just, get by until they, get a better job and a better career and all that kind of stuff, or they can get some OSAP money, or they can whatever, then they'll decide to change their lifestyle. But in the meantime, more, just like it was in the 80s, people will be spending more of their income towards their housing now than 5 years ago. And we just have to accept that. I am, you are, we all, like, there's nobody immune from this. Even if you have no mortgage, there's still going to be higher costs to run your home. Polyevra posted on his social media about a farm that has
bunker in this place.
$1,000 monthly carbon tax.
16,000 a month for the farmer. You saw that?
Yeah. Right. So like, everybody's got more money going out right now. This is just the world that we're living in. Right.
I want to have guys build a bunker in my basement, TK.
And as much as Trudeau is a fan of the show, and a lot of money, Pierre's got a great social media campaign, neither one of those guys can fix the problem that we have. Neither one of those guys
can or is willing to do what it takes.
Neither one of them
might include
knows how or is able to or is willing to try. They're just, it's all politics. It's all politics. It's all just keeping, your position and your seat. At the end of the day, we fix it ourselves. The market fix it ourselves. More opportunities will come. Buyers will determine what is the right price to pay. Tenants will determine what the right price is to pay. Foreign students will determine what country they want to travel to get an education, right? And we'll see those applications drop off, and we'll see the rental market decrease. Rental prices decrease from October to November. We're trending down. Sale prices are trending down. Fixed interest rates are trending down.
Right. And now they're saying rate cuts all over the place.
People are talking rate cuts, but that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Everybody's talking rate cuts. Like, everybody, even like the guys that are like at the top of the food chain as well respected, up theirs in the space. They're even talking rate cuts now. But
Did you see Morris's Peter Schiff.
Yeah,
interview.
what the? I sent him an email like, what the fuck, bro? How'd you
Yeah.
get Peter Schiff on your show?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Watch that. Yeah. It was good.
He made a special present for one of our special holiday episodes. Very excited, TK.
Awesome.
TK, I don't even know how long this episode is, but what I do know is
cut
it's
out
gonna
as
be
much
a
as possible.
editing nightmare. So we're gonna stop this
Cut
madness
out
now.
as much as you possibly can. Guys, we appreciate you. Hopefully you enjoyed the show today. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our Clips channel. Don't forget, guys.
Did we talk about real estate today?
Did we talk about real estate? And what am I about to tell them?
Clips
Don't forget.
channel. Don't forget to say hello to Dawn, maybe.
No, but
subscribe.
definitely comment and we'll respond to your comment. And we appreciate it. Oh, I know what I was going to say.
Do something.
Go to the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, the other ones. Go and check out our show there. You don't have to be on YouTube all the time. Give us a review. Maybe watch it on there sometimes instead of listening to it on YouTube. You know,
help a brother out.
That. Yeah, because we're pretty focused on YouTube, but definitely we're on those platforms as well too. Thanks, guys.